Yo, what's up, everyone? Make sure audio's good, video's good as usual. Just let me know, y'all, if everything is copacetic, and we can get right into it. All right, Walkin' Zeno is first. What's up, bro? So we'll just get into it. I'm assuming everything looks good. From what I can see, it looks good. So welcome back to another episode of Metals with Mayne. I don't know what number this is, 4 or 5 or something, but we're going to start it with our theme song here. Hold on. Was that dope, or did it even sound good? All right, so welcome back to another episode of Metals with Mayne. Like I said, hopefully you like that little intro music. Gonna just kind of hop right into it. We'll cover kind of what's happened from PA perspective on gold, on silver. We'll look at the dollar as usual. And then we'll talk about what's coming up next week. It's been not the best week for PA across the board, really. I have not had a ton of luck with any of my trades. We haven't really been trending. It's kind of been choppy, range bound PA. So I would say, in terms of swing trading, there's not really been much available. And how I like to trade gold, how I like to trade silver is primarily from a swing trading perspective. So I'm entering on the H4, sometimes even in a higher time frame. There just hasn't really been that many opportunities. So what I'll do in this video is I'm actually going to cover some potential day trades. So next week, if we're still choppy, if it's still ugly, we can still try and make some money, obviously. So let's see. What's up, guys? What's up, Victor? What's up, Semaphore, Azam? It'll be a better week. It's a weekend, baby. Can I be financially free if I 100x my 401k on BitMEX? I'm going to venture to guess that that's a bad idea. Lakers eating title. I fucking sure hope so. So let's get into it. Dollar index. This fucking thing just needs to break out and start moving so I can finally get in a long-term trend trade. I want to get into a position on gold and silver that I can hold for days, maybe even weeks, and that's not going to happen as long as this is consolidating. So if we're looking at this just as is, bare price action, I mean, to me, this definitely looks like an area of consolidation. This definitely looks like as an area where a bottom may be forming. So this could be your Wyckoff accumulation. This could be kind of a medium term bottom forming on gold, absolutely. But for now, it's just in a range. So we're just going sideways, and until we break out of this range, we're not going to see a trend on gold or silver, right? So again, we've got to rename metals with Mayne to where the fuck is the dollar going with Mayne, because once we know where this is going, then we can go and take some longer term trades on those commodity pairs, or on those metal pairs, excuse me, as well as on things like crypto. There's a reason Bitcoin is going sideways right now. It's because this is going sideways, right? What was Bitcoin doing in July, right? And what has Bitcoin been doing for most of August and September, right? So you look at gold, silver just looks like, if I go, this is gold, excuse me, right? So this is the inverse chart on gold, right? But it's kind of similar. It's not a 1-to-1 of the dollar, right? But it's going sideways right now. This kind of looks like, I don't know, an ascending wedge or triangle, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Right? But for now, consolidating. Break out of this structure to the up or downside will lead to an expansive move, obviously. All right, so looking at the dollar, we've had these same levels marked for a long time. We've been looking at this 12-hour chart. Sorry, my mother just texted me. I apologize. Been looking at this for like almost a month now, 3+ weeks. So we need to see a breakout here. So now I'm not a Wyckoff trader, but I mean, you could argue that, okay, maybe this is your spring. Let me just get a little bit more room here. So maybe this is your spring, maybe this is your jumping of the creek or whatever it's called, right? And then this is going to be that higher low, right? That launches us out of here, and this is your bottom. So I'm still leaning on this to break to the upside. You also have kind of like a kind of broadening wedge or a megaphone. I don't know what you want to call it, but to me, this looks like it is gearing up for a break to the upside. Because if you just look at what's happened here, yes, we made a new low below here, right? But we've reclaimed that low. We're back above it, and now we've made a higher high. Right? So what I'm looking for is a higher low to form here and then a move to the upside, right? So maybe it bounces and then goes there, but this is still what I'm expecting on dollar. And if this is what happens on the dollar, then we can expect downside price action on gold and silver. Gold and silver would be topping while this is bottoming, because to me, this still looks like a bottom. Absolutely, I could be wrong. So what are the kind of two main scenarios that we're looking at here? We need to get acceptance above here. So we rejected here, right? So we've got 1 rejection, 2 rejection, right? 3 rejections. We had our 3 drives to the downside. So that's kind of our bull bias. 3 drives to the downside. We're now hammering into that resistance. I think the next test breaks. Okay, so I think the next test of this level breaks. I thought this was going to break. So I was getting ready to get short on this move up. So at the time, this looked quite bullish, right? Boom, we were moving up, and then we completely rejected, retraced the entire move, but we're still holding this support area. So as long as this support area is holding, to me, this is the higher low, right? And if I were to take a fib and pull it from here to here, it's forming right around the 50%, the 0.382. There also happens to be another order block right here. Right, so this seems like an okay area for the higher low to form for continuation of the upside. So my bias on dollar is still, I think it's going to break up. That being said, it hasn't yet. So until this breaks out one direction or the other, if we get below here, okay, I'm longing everything. Equities, Bitcoin, gold, silver. If we get above here, I'm shorting everything. Okay, simple as that. And until then, while we're in this range, which we've been in base, I think I started doing the metals with mainstream right around the start of September. We've basically been in this range this entire time. So does that mean we cannot trade this? We can't get into a swing trade necessarily, but it doesn't mean we can't potentially get into some day trades. So how would that look? Well, if we're looking to day trade, when this is at resistance, right, I want to be looking to long gold and silver. When this is at support, I want to be looking to short gold and silver. So right now we're at support. That's where we closed the week. So let's see if there's any short opportunities lining up potentially for early next week on gold and silver. So we got to, looking at this chart, keep in mind that the dollar index is at support. So ideally, if the dollar index is at support, I want to look to short gold into resistance. It's a terrible line, right? I want to short. Why are all my line colors? When do I ever use red? I'm having a day, guys. I'm having a day. Yesterday I had a day. I'm just going to take a quick minute here for story time because I feel like I need to commiserate with y'all. So as you know, I've been bitching about being old now and hurting my wrist working out. And I didn't really take care of it initially. Then it went away. Then it kind of came back. So I went to physio. I had it in a splint for like 6 weeks. I was taking it easy at the gym. Finally, I go in for my last appointment, and the guy's like, listen, you know, you've sprained and stretched out your TFCC, fucking made up cartilage thing. It's kind of like a meniscus in your wrist. It's under that little bump on the outside, the ulnar pinky side. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, this, since it's a meniscus kind of cartilagely area, it won't really heal that well. So if you're at 95%, which is where I'm at, I don't really have pain, but my wrist is extremely crunchy. Every time I move it, it's like all gross. And I get a little bit of numbness in my pinky, and I'm worried that I'm going to re-injure it. He's like, it will probably never heal 100%. So I'm just like, this is bullshit. Fuck you. But I was late for this appointment. So I rushed out the door, ended up forgetting my wallet at home. Also needed gas. Didn't have time to get gas. So get to the physio appointment. Can't pay for parking because I don't have my wallet. Right? So naturally go upstairs, get the bad news about my wrist. I'm like, this is whack. I just spent $500 for you to tell me that I just could have wore a fucking wrist guard for the last 5 weeks and that's it. Scam. Went downstairs, parking ticket, obviously, naturally. Get in the car. I've got GPS and it's like, you need gas now, like less than 5 kilometers till empty. Do you want us to navigate you to a gas station? I'm like, yes. Click it. It navigates me to a gas station that no longer exists. So I get to this gas. There's no gas station there. I'm like, what the fuck? I had turned my car off, turn it back on. It's like 0 kilometers. You need gas now. I drive to the next nearest gas station. I look up on my phone. I get to like the front of the gas station. Car runs out of gas. Had to go inside, buy a jerry can, put like $5-10 of gas in the jerry can, fill it up in the car, get in the car, go fill up the gas, and then I came home and cried myself to sleep. So that's where I'm at mentally right now. I don't know about all of you. So anyways, what we want to look at here, right, is if we're looking from a day trade perspective, okay, because clearly we're not going to get a swing trade to the upside or to the downside until the dollar breaks out of this range. So from a day trade perspective, if the dollar is at support, right, if the dollar is at support, what we can be looking for early next week, because I think what we're going to see early next week is this. And if that's the case, I want to be looking for resistance to sell into on gold for a move down. And we've talked about this in the last video. This level here is interesting to me. Who fucked with my charts? It's impossible. I'm the only one who uses these. This area here, right, is kind of being like the 6K floor on Bitcoin, right? The bounces are getting weaker. We got that bouncy ball meme, right? So if I'm just looking at the H12 here, I see a nice level of resistance right here. That we're trading into right now. So let's dial in. So trading into this kind of H12 order block, which is essentially this entire area right here. So if I pull a fib here, you can see the 70.5% brings us right up into this area here. So if I'm looking at this on, let's even go, we're day trading, right? We're day traders now. If we're looking at this, I'm looking at something like this early next week. I swear to fuck. Why do you keep doing this? Fuck you. I'm looking like this, something early next week, hopefully, right? Is a move above. What do we got here? These are kind of like equal highs. This high never got ran, right? This high never got ran. Okay, this high is intact. So what I would like to see as a potential short trade on gold with dollar at support, right, is this to run these highs into here. And then I would look to sell a move here. So if we see early in the week, right, early in the week, a run on these highs, so what would gold have to do? Gold doesn't have to necessarily go down, right? But gold maybe sideways, maybe slightly down, right? But then I want to see this move up early in the week because right now we're forming a little bit of an uptrend here, right? On the hourly, this is an uptrend. But, you know, we're still a lower high from here. And we just made a lower low from here, right? So to me, market structure is still to the downside. So what we could see on gold early next week, and what I would like to see, is a move up above these highs into resistance, right? Into resistance. You can pull your fib. It'll give you this. There's a 79 right there. So I want to see a deep pullback. I want to see a run of these highs. That is like a day trade that I would take on gold that could potentially turn into a swing trade. Because let's say we get this move up early in the week, Monday, Tuesday could be the high of the week, and we see price move down, right? So where you put your stop either goes here or your stop goes above the high here, okay? That would be kind of a low time frame trade I'd be looking to get into, because I've been trying to find like H4 swing trades for you guys. Nothing's showing up yet, right? But if we trade this, we can trade this right back into support here, and you can still get a 2R. So this, I'm not necessarily saying that the ass is going to fall out from this trade, right? But if your stop is here, right, 3.5R, if your stop is like super loose, probably not the greatest trade. You're going to want to aim lower, right? I don't know if I'd have my stop this loose. I'd probably have my stop at the loosest above these wicks, but I'm thinking once the high forms, right, you can also do something like this. If we move up above these highs, right, then reject the next pullback, right, into a bearish order block. Maybe it's an SFP, maybe it's a breaker. You got to see it when it happens. I'll post a chart on Twitter when I see it. Your stop could be even tighter, could be above the high here, right, into here, and that's enough of a range to, like, you can get a 2R trade between here and here. And then potential, if it breaks down from this level and then gold continues, or sorry, dollar continues up, then this could be a thing that we're now going to compound, and we're going to be aiming much lower. Because if this breaks out to the upside next week, we are going to want to be shorting this. But for now, this is something that I could see potentially forming on the H1. This could be a nice little tidy trade from in here to here, and then potentially carry this lower, assuming that dollar shows strength, right? So if dollar is at support, I want to be selling gold into resistance. Does that make sense? Please use backgrounds. I've tried to make a black background, and I posted the color scheme on Twitter, and everyone hated it. So if you want to help me design one, sure. I agree. Good days ahead. Does that make sense what I just explained to you guys, though, in terms of dollar at support, selling gold into resistance is what we want to be looking for? If I'm looking at this to me still looks like it's going to break down. Right? Like I don't see this as super bullish structure. Okay? I just don't. I see this as weak. But of course, we could be wrong. Where are we wrong on gold shorts? Right? To me, you're wrong up here. Because this order block here, right, that formed that last top. So if we start trading above 1992, right, and again, this would be confluent with dollar breaking down, right? But if we start trading above here, you just long the shit out of gold, right? Like if we break out here and we start trading above here, you know, this is a swing long, because we're going to be going through this high and much higher if we can reclaim that level. But if we're bearish, we're not going to get above. We will not get above here, right? So that would be kind of my bullish or my bearish invalidation area, is this high and this gray block here. As long as we're trading below there, I'm leaning towards dollar breaking out and gold breaking down. And so I want to be selling resistance on gold, right? And this looks just like Bitcoin at 6K, right? It does. Looks very similar, right? So if I just go different time scale, right? But if I go here, right, you've got a floor, okay? And you've got bounces that are getting weaker, right? Smaller bounces, boom. And yes, you could have longed here. You could have longed here and made money, but you know where you also made money was shorting every time this thing pulled back, you know, 62% to 79%. Right into there, right into resistance, right? Take the next high to the low, right into the sweet spot, right into resistance. So to me, I'm getting that kind of same vibe on gold. I could be wrong. I absolutely could be wrong. But just looking at this, I just see this as the bounces are getting weaker off of this, kind of floor here. There's your floor. Bounces are getting weaker. If the dollar shows any kind of strength, then it's going up. Or sorry, this is going to melt, right? So again, bear bias absolutely invalidated above here, of course, with the dollar breaking down as well. But for now, I'm thinking next week, we're looking for resistance to sell gold into. Okay, and that resistance that I'm aiming for is right here with a run of these two highs. Hopefully that is super duper clear for everyone. Okay. Do I normally day trade or swing trade? I do both. Gold and silver, primarily, I like to swing trade. So I'm usually entering on the H4. This H1 setup is a little bit lower time frame, but we didn't have any trades last week, and dollar's still ranging. So I'm trying to give you guys something a little bit lower time frame that has a chance of playing out. But I generally swing trade on gold and silver. I like to day trade. I would love to be a great scalper. It's just not something I'm super good at right now. Something I definitely want to improve upon. The argument, right? Price is fractal. Like, does it matter? Everything works on, the 15-minute could be your high time frame, and the 5-minute could be your low time frame, or the 1-minute. It's just, to me, it's different, right? Like when you're swing trading, things move slower. You don't have to make decisions as fast, and it's just what I've practiced doing for years, right? I've spent the time looking at higher time frame charts, not as much, like a guy like Salsa. Or SMFX, or like some of these guys who you see are just absolutely crushing it on the low time frames. That's because that's where they've spent thousands of hours looking, right? So silver, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to know. Like this could be like a massive, kind of continuation here. Like this could be, I don't know, kind of a bull flag, right? And it's just going to continue up. Definitely possible. It looks more bullish than gold, but again, it's completely hinging on what the dollar is going to do. I think one of the main differences here, that's kind of your support level, I think, for silver, right around there, 26.45. Yeah, there you go. Right here. So again, this is, I'm not longing silver here. Seems like longing it in this gray zone for the last month has worked, but we made a higher high here. This just looks kind of weak. So no real kind of clear trade idea on silver for me here. It looks like we're kind of capped right here. So this just looks like a range to me. So I would want to see a move above this gray area, 1, 2, kind of 3, 4 tests, right? But we've also 1, 2, 3, 4 tests of support. So I wouldn't be surprised if this, kind of drifts down. Again, if the dollar breaks out, silver starts trading into this gray again, right? You can be looking to short it at least down into here. Okay. Shorting it from here, or shorting another lot, like once it takes out this low, some sort of low time frame pullback or something. But the gold setup, I think I like a little bit better than silver. Silver, I'm not shorting it here. I mean, if you shorted it here, great. This is still support till it's not. But if the dollar's bullish next week, right? What are you doing? You're waiting for this to break down. Right? And you're selling. If the dollar's bearish, or if the dollar goes sideways, this will go sideways. If the dollar is bearish, if we get a chance to come in here and buy, this is a buy zone, right? So if you see the dollar next week lose this this gray area here. So let's say the dollar next week goes like this, down towards here, okay? I would want to try and get long silver in this lower gray if possible, right? Long it in here, towards here, right? And then see what happens. If dollar finds support, you could flip short here because it'll just continue to range. Or if it breaks up, dollar continues to break down, you're going to compound longs and you're going to target this level right here. Right? So if we're able to get long on silver, so bearish dollar, long silver in the lower gray, compound above here, target 28.15. If the dollar is bullish, if there's a low time frame opportunity to sell silver, like you could say, like let's see here, let's see if I zoom in. Yeah. So like let's say the dollar's bullish, right? A sell like this on silver would make sense, or just a breakdown of this 26.45 level, right? So dollar's bullish, this drifts down. If we lose this level, you just start selling retraces into there. Does that make sense for everyone? Glad. Why do you think the dollar is going up? Euro is weakening. I don't see dollar stop falling from where it's at. So you got to remember that the federal government, right? The Jerome Powell has been pumping a lot of liquidity, into the market. To me, this is the most bottomed the dollar has looked in a long time, right? Because we're into high time frame support here, right? Like this was not a bottom. This is a bear flag, right? But this looks more like a bottom to me. This does not look like a bear flag. This looks like it's setting up for something potentially bullish. You also got to look, this thing's massively oversold. So outside of, the coronavirus move, for the latter half of 2020, the dollar's been going essentially straight down, right? So it's due for relief, and it doesn't mean, like I said, it can't come up here and then continue down. But this move up here would lead to a pullback in things like gold, silver, Bitcoin, the markets, right? So to me, we have the right levels mapped because they're respecting them. The problem with swing trading is it's slow, right? So I've been doing metals with Mayne for 3 weeks, and we've literally been stuck between these two levels that entire fucking time, right? So we need to see a break above here or above here before we can get to a swing trade. So what I'm trying to show you here is just some low time frame potential setups that you could be getting into from a day trading perspective. Oops. So does anyone have any questions about anything I've covered on gold, on silver, on dollar that you'd like me to kind of touch on before the end of the video? Thought VIX should have been correlated with dollar strength. Okay, so I mean the VIX is the volatility index. Right, and so what you can see here, right, is when this is going ham, this is kind of inversely correlated to the stock market. So this is the volatility index. You could say this is kind of like the fear index, right? It's basically the inverse of stocks, right? So here's the bottom on stocks, right? And we've been declining on VIX, which means an increase on stocks, right? So if you want to get bullish on the VIX, right, that would lead to downward movement on stocks. I just don't see it yet. This looks like just kind of continue to dribble down. Yeah, like I still think this has further to drop before it potentially finds support. Because like historically, you could argue that, you know, we have see if I can. So like, I mean, look, these are all going to be correlated. Like, let's go back to, right, big dumps on the stock market. So it's definitely something you can look at, the VIX. To me, it's like this seems like a good area here. I think we come further down here before potentially getting a bounce, right? Because this area, right, top, broke through, gave a nice little bounce there. So I think we come back and test this level on the VIX. Can Dixie revisit 29, 92.30? I mean, yeah, absolutely, right? If this breaks down, if we lose this gray, we'll go there. That's where we'll go, right? And I do think that will give a bounce, right? So you have an order block right here, right? So if we lose this gray, we're going to go in and test this level and test this area here. Absolutely. Is it not weakening the support for dollar if it's bouncing many times at the bottom, making more chance to break down? So, I mean, yes, right? So, I mean, here's the thing though, right? This is 3 drives into support, and now we've moved away strongly. We've broken market structure to the upside. If we come down here like this, right, and then do one of these, then yes, I'm going to be leaning more bearish. But the fact that we had a strong move off here and broke a high, the context to me makes me think that this is going to make a higher low. But if we reject here, right, and we break down and we start trading around here, yes, I think that means that this is not the bottom. Could I check copper? Sure. When Bitcoin? I'll be doing Ethereum and Bitcoin on Sunday, Brady. Well, yeah, so then use that information, Jay, to trade Euro USD, right? Trading, I don't trade the VIX. That's not something I do. I look at it. Okay, we'll look at OSTK. I don't know. If I'm just looking at this, I've never looked at this chart before. If I'm just looking at this right now, that would be my guess. Never looked at this chart before. I mean, maybe I have in the past, but I've not looked at it in over a year. So that would just be my complete blind read. Yeah, up there and then down. Okay, I'm going to take a look at copper, and then that will be it for this week, guys. What is the fucking symbol for copper here? Not that. I don't think I've ever taken a trade on copper. Oh, well, it makes sense that I spelled copper wrong, right? I don't know, is this what people trade for copper? Let's try this. None of these look fucking right. There we go. Hmm. So, I mean, this looks okay. So, coming into an interesting area here. Just looking at the monthly, right? We do not want to get back below this low, okay? So if this is bullish, right, we can range in here. This is the monthly chart, so you gotta remember this is a huge area. We can range in here, but I don't want to see us get back below this low. Because if we get back below this low, right, to me, this was just a run on this high into high time frame resistance, and then we're gonna sell off like a motherfucker. So just at the monthly level, I wouldn't want to see us get back below that high. Yeah, like it looks like it's, you know, potentially breaking higher. I wouldn't be surprised if it finds some resistance in this area. So I'm going to refine that monthly block down to this one here. All right, so I'm thinking some sideways price action on copper, a range between these two areas. Ideal situation, right, is it holds this high and does not lose this low. That would be kind of my view on copper right now. So, you know, come up into here, sure, could come as deep as here on a pullback, but it does not want to lose this low, because if it starts trading below this high and staying there, I think you just sell it, and this was just a run on this high and into this resistance. So that would be kind of my quick high time frame view on copper. Those would be my key areas of interest. This area here, this previous high, and then this consolidation that led to this most recent push up above this high. Do not want to see us lose this area here. All right, I'm going to, yeah, I know, I realized I can't spell. So I'm going to sign off here, guys. I'll be back again next Friday, same thing, same time, and I will chat you all then. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter if you got any questions. I'll answer you. Just tag me, message on one of my posts. Feel free to DM me. It's hot as hell in my apartment. I can't open any of the windows because there's a moth infestation and there's all the smoke from the fires in the US. So it's stuffy and gross in here. So I'm gonna go have like a cold shower or something. But yeah, appreciate you guys all tuning in. Obviously, you know, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment what you want to see, because I will be back, and I'll be here on Sunday doing the Ethereum stream. I'll cover a little bit of Bitcoin, cover Ethereum, and yeah, hope to see you guys next week. Hope to talk to you on Twitter. Yeah, still not smoking weed, taking off until January 1 of 2021. So we're in the home stretch. We're 9 months through. But really appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you all next week.